When I bought Minecraft Dungeons, I noticed I had a ton of gold points saved up, so I decided to buy another game with them. I went to my wishlist and the first game I saw was one I was interested in for a long time but forgot about, One Step from Eden. I was introduced to this game by videos from one of the other YouTubers I'm subscribed to. The art style drew me in and I decided I wanted to play it blind, though it took me a while to actually get around to playing it. Now that I actually have played it though, I'm very glad I did. So far this is my favorite game I played this year, and it would take a lot for another game to come for that title. One Step from Eden is an indie roguelite inspired by the Mega Man Battle Network games and Slay the Spire. I never played either of those games. Combat is most of the game, with the battlefield being an 8x4 rectangle divided into two 4x4 squares. Combat's real-time, and there are two means of attack. Each character has a weapon, which usually functions as a weak attack. Spells are going to be your main means of fighting, and they work like a deck of cards. You can use the top two cards in your deck, and the left side of the screen shows what's coming next. There is a very wide variety of spells. Some are just basic attacks, some destroy parts of the battlefield, some inflict status ailments, some build machines that auto-attack, some instead give you a shield that nullifies a certain amount of damage. There's too many to cover in this video. Most weapon attacks and spells cost mana to use. This slowly fills up over time. After you win a round of combat, you can choose from one of 3 spells to add to your deck, and you gain some experience points. If you level up, you can choose from one of 3 artifacts, which there are once again a large amount of. A lot of times, these artifacts are simple, say healing or buffing how much mana you regenerate over time, but there are also more fancy artifacts, like ones that give you pets that help you out in battle. Some buff you up once you inflict status ailments, and there's a lot more than that. Like most games in this genre, no 2 runs are going to be the same. While it might seem tempting to take as much as you can and create a massive deck backed up by tons of artifacts, this is actually a really bad idea. Once you run out of cards, you have to spend some time reshuffling. You can only move around and do basic attacks during this period, so unless you set some stuff up beforehand, you're probably going to be a sitting duck. The more cards you have, the longer it takes to reshuffle. Because of this, it's best to really think before taking something. After your first round of combat, you can open the world map. Each icon on the map represents a fight you can partake in. Swords are standard fights. The only special thing about them is sometimes a medic will be in trouble. If they survive until the end of the fight, they'll heal you for 100 HP. Hazard signs are like standard fights, but there's an environmental hazard in play. There are also crystals in play in these fights, which can be broken for money. Distress signs have you defending hostages. If they survive, you'll be rewarded, but there's no penalty if they die. At campsites, you'll heal for 250 HP, which is a quarter of your health for most characters. There's also a rabbit there you can kill. This boosts your luck, which helps you get rare spells and artifacts, but it also boosts the difficulty of the game. Shopping spaces allow you to spend money to buy spells and artifacts, purchase items needed to upgrade or remove a spell, and allow you to take part on packs. These give you a boost like raising your stats or healing you at the cost of giving you a penalty in the upcoming battles. Treasure spots have a chest you can open as well as 2 crystals. Opening a chest is basically a DPS race, with one chest also being an accuracy test. Finally, there's the mini-boss, where one foe will be drastically powered up, but it's not as hard as it sounds. Don't be afraid if you end up having to fight one. At the end of each world, there's a boss fight against another playable character. This is where the real chaos begins. It's not uncommon for almost every square on your side of the field to be under attack at once during a boss fight. One neat thing about the fights is that most of the time bosses are using the same attacks you can, albeit adjusted in some way. Once you get through the fight, the boss will be left with 1 HP. You'll then have the choice between executing the boss or moving on. Executing the boss lets you choose from a rare pool of artifacts and spells, while moving on will have the boss heal you for 400 HP, and will assist you for the rest of the game. However, you won't gain any items from the encounter. Like Undertale, the final boss and ending is determined by the amount of bosses you spare or kill. Personally, I usually spare the bosses because the healing is usually more important to me, and the perks they grant from being spared are usually great. A few will throw out an attack at the start of a fight, one gives an additional 80 HP at campsites, and one even revives you once per playthrough. This game also has multiplayer, a co-op mode and a versus mode. Co-op has you and another player play the single player together. I'm not a fan of this mode. The second player can't choose their own character, the spells seem to not display correctly, and it's pretty hard to dodge when there's another player in the mix. Versus is a lot more fun. It's exactly as it sounds, you and another player duking it out. Some spells are randomly picked from the pool each time you fight, so no 2 fights are going to be the same either. I wish there was online though. It takes a good amount of time to explain something to a newcomer, and if they don't know what's going on, then neither of you are going to have much fun. One thing I should mention is that this game is really hard. Unlike, say, the Binding of Isaac, where certain combinations can steamroll the game, there's no one deck that dabs on the content. I see a lot of hype around the kunai decks, but each kunai only does 30 damage, and one of the final bosses has almost 20,000 HP. You're going to have to make your own strategy and then adapt as things come along. Maybe you'll start out intending to make a flow deck, but by the end you're abusing poison. It's going to take a lot of try to get to the end, and you're going to hear the failure theme a lot. Not me, of course. I never lose at video games. There are 9 playable characters in the game. You unlock them by beating them as bosses in the later worlds. The character you start with is Saffron. She's a military scientist and pretty much the mascot of the game. She's a good character for beginners too. Her starting spells are all pretty good. She has the most starting HP, and she can even revive herself once per playthrough. However, as you start to get more experienced, you might find yourself not liking her as much. While none of her starting spells are bad, they lack focus. All this means you can easily build her any way you want. You might like how later characters come with a certain strategy in mind. Next up is Reva, a nice shield maiden. Her starting game plan is to build up shield and then turn that defense into offense with a shield throw. Just walking around with her builds shield, and she comes with a focus on the spell family that gives you shields. Instead of a basic attack, she can reflect attacks. Despite the fact I always set the shield family as a focus when I play, I'm not a big fan of Reva. It's pretty hard to kill stuff with her. And shield throw is dangerous, as if it misses, you don't get your shield back. Also, Boss Reva gives one of the best perks is Spared, so if you play with her, you naturally miss out on that bonus. Gunner is a very offense-focused character. He has no natural mana regeneration, but his basic attack gives a lot back if it hits. The idea is to just keep attacking with him, whether that be with his mana-building gun or with powerful spells. Gunner can also change out his gun with certain artifacts, although this is a really bad idea if you don't build up his natural mana generation. I don't play a lot of Gunner though, so there might be something I'm missing. Zalaisi is my second favorite character. She's all about the Frost ailment. Frost on its own does nothing, but apply it 3 times and it does 150 damage. Zalaisi's basic attack does 80 additional damage per Frost stack. Her basic attack also lunges her forward, so if you time things right, you can throw out spells on the enemy side of the field. She's also pretty cute, and as a boss she makes ice puns. Overall 10 out of 10. Hazel is the engineer from Team Fortress 2. Her basic attack only hits 1 tile ahead of her, but if she targets a building with it, she makes it stronger and gives it a shield. So instead of fighting yourself, you want to build turrets to keep them healthy. She also has the best boss theme in the game, which you unfortunately never hear if you play as her. Terra is an interesting character. Her basic attack destroys a tile on the enemy side of the field, and she gains mana faster the more tiles she breaks. She wants to break as much as she can to trap the opponent and unleash a bunch of powerful spells. She looks pretty complicated, but once you get that down, it's pretty simple. And now we get to the big gun, or I guess small gun. Shiso is my favorite character in the game, and the one I first beat the game with. Many times in these types of games, I find either get filtered early on, or snowball through the rest of the game. Shiso takes this to an extreme. His starting spells are awful, and while his weapon attack is the strongest of all the characters, it costs 3 money to use and it gets weaker with each shot. He really struggles in the early game, but if you can get past that, oh boy. Shiso's gun attack does equal to half your money, and when you kill something with it, you get 10 money back. As you accumulate money, Shiso becomes much more powerful. By the mid-game, you'll be one-shotting standard enemies. By the end-game, you'll be able to count how many shots you'll need to take out bosses in 2 hands or less. This is the penultimate boss in one of my runs, and look how quickly I take him out. You can also unlock a cowboy costume for him, making him the coolest character by far. Violette is a weird character. Her basic attack creates a plus-shaped icon, and depending on which square you go to in that icon, a different effect will occur. She's a bit like Zalaisi in that she revolves around a status ailment, but unlike Zalaisi, she's applying that ailment on herself. Fragile is a status ailment that increases the damage taken, and it goes away after 1 hit. With Violette, the more stacks of Fragile you have on yourself, the stronger your spells become. She also starts with a spell that inflicts 3 stacks of freeze if she has Fragile. I'm not a big fan of Violette. I'm not good enough at dodging to make the Fragile boost worth it, and her starting loadout doesn't appeal to me. The Shopkeeper is the last character on the list, and will probably be the last character you unlock too. Like the other characters, you have to beat her to unlock her, but she's pretty much a super boss. Anyway, the Shopkeeper is like Shiso in that you snowball with your money, but unlike Shiso, she turns the money into defense. Her max HP is the same amount of how much money she's carrying, so save up and you'll easily become a tank. Her weapon attack has her throw money, and when she gets hit she drops the money she can pick up. She can also access the shop anywhere and get anything in it for free, although it becomes much more expensive to restock it. If you get the neutral ending with a character, they'll unlock their additional loadout. This excludes Saffron, who unlocks her loadout in a different manner, and the Shopkeeper, who only has one loadout. These radically change the way the characters are played. Take Shiso as an example. His alternative loadout trades out his gun for kunai, loads and loads of kunai. He uses his weapon attack for the ability to generate kunai spells. One of his spells generates additional kunai spells as long as it's active, and one of his spells just creates 2 more kunai. They may be weak, but firing tons of knives at once really adds up. You may have noticed that I didn't open up this video talking about the plot. That's because there really isn't one in this game. It's pretty much just get to Eden however you can. It kind of hurts the game in my opinion. What little lore there is in the game is interesting, but there's really nothing too deep to look into. This lack of plot really comes to a head at the ending. One ending tries to go for a twist final boss. I say tries to because it took me looking up what was going on online to even understand what was supposed to be happening. Since there's no plot and no foreshadowing, the boss comes out of nowhere. This game also has some trouble running, at least on the Switch. It's pretty often that this game stutters a bit when a lot is happening at once. There are a few spells that target every tile on the enemy side, another can target all 32 tiles on the field. What I'm saying is that the game's going to be freezing up a lot and it gets annoying. But all in all, One Step from Eden is amazing. I really can't recommend the game enough. It's really addicting, and even when you fail a run, you're making progress towards unlocks. It's only $20, so there's no reason not to get it. If you played One Step from Eden, let me know what you thought of it in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and consider subscribing to the channel. I have more time to make videos nowadays, although I'm a bit stuck on what to make next, so I can't give an idea of when the next video will come up. But when it does come up, I hope you'll continue watching them.